here's how it goes. Okay? ABCD, okay? So that's different from the ABCD of CBT, right? In CBT, A is what? Antecedent, right? B is what? Belief. C is what? Consequence. D is what? Fighting challenging the different, okay? This is not called bracket. But you try it, you like it, okay? It always works, okay? It always works in every situation. Doesn't matter how bad. The first is what? Accept reality. No, that's quite over spilled milk. I mean, it happened. Then the first step. You can cry, you can scream, you can curse God. You can get angry, but for God's sake, accept what happened. Something horrible has happened, you accept that. This first step. But if you accept that, then you feel depressed, right? How God, that's horrible happened. But the next step was solution. Believe that life was living, no matter what. Remember Frankel's third point. Remember, the first is self-determination theory. The second point is the primary motive of meaning thing. The third is that affirm that life has intrinsic value and meaning. I don't know what happened, but life is precious. It's great to be alive. I think you're alive, I think you're great. That's hope. Life is uncertain. That's why it's hope, because what's going to happen tomorrow? People are not certain, right? Uncertainty is one for hope. So if you affirm that meaning can be found in any situation, if you affirm that life, that life was living, and then you feel depressed, right? It's hope very important. It's hope, right? So hope is not just pathway. It's not agency. Hope means based on believe in the intrinsic value of being alive. Even no agency, no pathway to succeed, you believe that life is worth living, no matter what. So that's a powerful affirmation. I talk that with people in cancer, or I talk that with people who are handicapped, or homeless. That is powerful. Now you believe that life was living, then the point that what are you going to do to live out your hope, right? Now you see life was living, then how do we change your life? Can you know what goal that you want to pursue? Do you have a dream you want to pursue? So that leads to certain point that this is like accepting commitment therapy, right? Very similar. You commit yourself to pursue some values and goals. Right? And the fourth part is that the discovery for the meaning and significance of self and situation is the aha principle. The discovery is not meaning it's not made, meaning it's discovered. That's what I say. The discovery with open mind, with awakening, with a sense of appreciation, and finally you evaluate about the self-revelation again. Does it work? It doesn't work, we evaluate again, right? And have I committed the wrong goal, wrong action? So this part takes you to the pure principle, right? Do I have the right purpose? Do I have the right understanding? Do I have the right goal? Then I'll make my tuning, so eventually you're able to overcome, right? What I'm saying? Oh, and Okay, one more last one. Okay. Now, we have a section on traffic optimism. If you study the literature on hope, on optimism, like Silverman and Peterson, and another woman's name, they learned the optimism thing. Basically, it's simply the Weiner and I did in UCLA on reattribution plays, right? You attribute the failure to the effort, the situation, then you can improve yourself, okay? So the basic attribution is not really hope, okay? It's not optimal. You can call it rationalization or whatever. It's the attribution strategy. And other hope scale is based on positive expectation. I practice what happened to me. Now, many people, they can't do that. Most days are bad days. How you say I expect good thing happen to me? I'm in some part of the world. It's like the doctor was awarded that so-called hell, living hell. The doctor beyond borders has come to places which literally hell. Ought to have HIV, AIDS, hunger, ravages of the war. Most days are bad days. You can't say I expect good days. Do those people are pessimists? No. Even in worse conditions, they still struggle to stay alive. Let's say something, right? Now, why do these people stay alive? Struggle to stay alive in spite of they go to bed hungry all the time, suffering. So they are able to accept the thing, right? They're able to affirm value, meaning of life, what we were earlier, and also they have self-understanding. People help each other. People come together. Look at 9/11. Look at Colorado. Neighborhood community get together, help each other. That's the beauty of being human, right? People reach out and help each other and find meaning and comfort. And then faith in God is more popular than else. Encourage this adversity. So this ABC, this 5 elements of trade optimism has been tested out in Nazi country in camp. You can also experiment and test it out. So it gives you an ethical. Okay, but you can test out in real life. You work with people who are suffering, tragedy, you work on those elements. Okay? You're going to see that gradually gain some hope.